3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do, 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 do. Bow, bow, bow. All right. Greetings from the wasteland. This is Freedom Phil. And what's the topic today? When I walk around the waste, I'll see like what are old dump sites of sorts. And the glass is a problem because once it's broken, it's just a real problem to clean up. But the cans, ironically, and there's people I've talked to, oh, we clean up the desert, blah, blah, blah. I've hauled mattresses and all this stuff out of here. And yet I see cans everywhere. And I start to think, are these cans actually kind of a deterrent? They're like, where are you going with this? I'll explain. Freedom Phil, like, subscribe, and always turn up the video speed. Why do I always say that? Because when I upload those videos, you're watching at 1.75. That's the idea of the channel. Turn up the video speed. And so, yeah, that's what you should be doing. And hey, like, subscribe, let's get into it. I'm sitting there walking through the wasteland and I see like an old dump site. And you see some of the designs of different cans. You know, you can tell they're older. They're so old that they have the old pop top. You know, like, and it's not like pop pull tabs or any of that. You know, when they used to use like can openers, like with the little triangle wedge at the top, instead of actually, you know, where you pop off the bottle cap. And you're like, that's been here for a long time. I don't ever remember anybody doing that as a normal thing, unless it was like somebody doing, you know, tomato juice cans. They used to do beer that way. A long, long time ago, that was the way it was done. And they also did glass bottles. Now, something I can tell you about the wasteland that's different from a lot of the world, or any sort of grassy area that's, you know, grazed, these are things you will notice. But even the grazing areas, eventually, to some degree, the glass will get covered over by something. You know, the cans might be visible for a long time in a grassland. But the grass gets tall enough you won't see it. So where I grew up on the northwest coast, there's dump sites all over the place. In fact, some people prize some of the old dump sites for like rare bottles and stuff like that. You know, because a lot of them, the metal is long since, you know, either rusted away or nobody cares about it. But the bottles, people like the bottles. And it's one of those situations where basically out here, though, when something drops dead, dies, or is thrown away, it's here forever. There's no salao growing up. There's no salao, a type of bush in the Northwest. There's none of that. There's no such thing as protecting the view of everybody else. And by the way, you'll go into some of these clear cuts in the Northwest, and you go through and you'll see like an old bottle where like 50 years ago, let's say, I don't know, 60s, 70s, or the 80s, sometime in years past, someone was partying out there back after the clear cut happened. And effectively, what ends up happening is they throw the bottle out in the middle of the brush, and it just sits there forever. You would never know that bottle was there until the next clear cut happens, and there's a cleaned out area, and you're walking back there to get some firewood. And effectively, what do you see? You're like, oh, wow, that's like late 70s, early 80s design of bottle. It's nothing really special. It's something you see some, you know, not regularly, but occasionally. But you look at it and go, yeah, that was a thing back in the day. And by the way, I'm setting up the parameters because if people want to talk, they at least be subscribers. I sit there and I look at the situation and I'm like, out here, glass is a problem. It is. It's a fucking problem. And the area I'm in, I'm surrounded by broken glass all over the fucking place. And all it is usually, occasionally it's, you know, something bigger like a mirror or something, but it's people coming out here to party. And they got their, you know, long necks, their 18-pack of cold long neck bottles. And sometimes it's not even the people that are partying that are doing it. They just leave their empties out here because they're like, well, you know, you don't want to get busted with empties in your vehicle. Some cops are that way. You're like, well, yeah, and you try to do the right thing, and you're just not littering. And so basically, yeah, you're kind of fucking yourself. And there's been kind of an argument over the years, you know, not a huge argument. Which is better? broken glass or just throwing the bottles into the fire and making a big melted ooze. I'd argue the fire is probably better. And the reason for that is that it's one of those things where effectively the pile of molten glass with some rocks and wood debris in it is at least a concentrate in one area. But the broken glass out in the desert is just a fucking pain in the ass to clean up. So we bring it back to the cans. The cans out here can be shot at Lord knows how many times over. And when the can's finally got enough holes in it, assuming you care enough about the desert, you could just take the can, crush it, and take it back to the recycle center. That's assuming you have a recycle center around here that's worth a damn. Up north, I've never seen this before, by the way, up in where the Rocky Mountain House is, there is they actually took metal cans. Everybody takes aluminum, whether it's recycling it for money or just recycling it in general. Most people don't take metal cans, which I've always thought is retarded. Like, this metal is a metal material. This should be recycled. Glass is actually generally cheaper to make from raw material than it is to recycle glass, unless you're in Mexico. It's kind of a joke. Like, if you want to know if you have real Mexican Coca-Cola, look at the bottle. If the bottle has some scrapes or defects on it, that's real Mexican Coca-Cola. Like, well, what do you mean? In Mexico, they recycle the Coke bottles. And one could argue, maybe that's the solution. And, like, I know a lot of people, they don't want to see a deposit fee on these things, but it's kind of like, either A, we do something to make it to where you're not going to fucking blow these bottles apart. And then the problem with the deposit fee on a lot of these things is it actually economical to recycle the bottles, to wash them out and use them again and again and again? A lot of people have said, no, it's not. It's cheaper to use plastic. It's cheaper to use... Aluminum is easily self-recyclable. You can take the can, you crush it down, or you keep it as a whole can to turn it into a deposit deal. Aluminum's so much easier to deal with. Plastic is easier to deal with. Even like, say, plastic, hard liquor bottles. If you're out at a bonfire and you're done with the plastic bottle, you just toss it in the bonfire. And I know, oh God, plastic is bad. Up in smoke, it's gone in a few seconds. No evidence, no open container in the back of your pickup truck. Or hopefully you got something you can put it in a container thing and you're just like, well, I don't want to litter out there. But then you are risking the situation with the officers. All right, let's do a little reading here. Let's see who's saying, holy cow, man, those are the weirdest states. Okay, blah, blah, blah. We're in the Northwest. You don't mind asking. Great Northwest. North Peninsula. I remodeled a house for a living. I just ran across a whole bunch of old Flagstaff beer cans. I haven't seen that in a long time. These beer cans are from the 40s and 50s. Actually, I had an idea for that. You use old beer cans as Christmas tree ornaments, like vintage beer cans. Not like, you could do it with modern beer cans, but you try to find vintage beer cans. It's like the Bachelor's Christmas tree ornament, because that's something people would see and they're like, oh wow, I haven't seen like Jack's beer, for instance. I haven't seen Jack's beer. It didn't exist in my lifetime, if I'm right about it. At least I don't think it existed. Certain things that are vintage like that would be kind of cool, But yeah, when it comes out here to the trash problems that you see, I don't know, man. I look at glass and I think I can understand some food products in glass. And everybody says, yeah, man, but microplastics. I agree with you. Microplastics might be a thing. But which is harder to deal with? Which is realistically harder to deal with? Like, we give people the freedom to make choices, and people consistently fuck up. They do. And you know what? What pisses me off about it is a lot of time it's not the van lifers. It's not even the van bums out here that are causing the problem. It's fucking jackasses from the cities. They come out here and they're jacked up, overpriced, farmer subsidy-funded pickup trucks. It's like, Daddy let me drive his old truck because he got a new Super Duty, blah, 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 like anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000 pickup truck paid for by the government. Sorry, farmers, but the fucking jig is up. People know what's going on. And then you got the redneck kid out there trying to impress his girlfriend. Now we're gonna go shoot some stuff, and yeah, I admit it. When I was a kid, shooting a glass bottles is kind of fun. But then they just leave the fucking trash there. You go out to some places and you see old computer monitors out in the middle of nowhere. And like some of the places I've been, you realize there hasn't been anybody driving on that road as a normal thing, as a normal vehicle in 30 years. 20, 30, let's say 20, 30 years. And you see some looks like the green screen computer from middle school back in the early 90s. That's when that computer got out there. And the trash stays there forever unless somebody goes out there and you clean it up. And then, maybe if you got a side-by-side and you can take some of it in. Hell, I've seen places in fences in order to fix fence holes where effectively there's kind of a wash that goes through. They would take old mattresses, once the mattress has nothing left on it. Like the type of mattress, the box spring that you'll use for, dragging around behind a little lawnmower or tractor to kind of smooth your gravel, help take out the weeds. They'll take those and they'll put them up as fence things. You see some weird shit out here. But I know when it comes to the garbage issues, I know for goddamn sure that glass is an issue in the desert. And it's funny because it just makes me think, whatever I'm seeing out here in the wasteland, all the trash that you never saw when you're in the Great Northwest. Like some hippies had like a little hippie camp back in the day. How many of them do you really think took their garbage in? Just like the tree planting camps. Some of them just tossed the shit into the woods. When I was a kid, you'd have some of the guys when they were logging, they would actually talk about how they would just, if they were changing the oil, they just dump the oil out right into the wherever they were at. Yeah, there's a swamp there, who cares? Hydraulic leak, whatever. Just fucking open up the deal, let it spill out. Oil pan, what the hell are you talking about? Which is funny because now you see people that are, it's pretty rare, you don't see people doing it so much, but they're making what's called black diesel, waste oil diesel. If you have a whole fleet of things, you could be running a whole ass shop and a whole hot water. You run a power plant off that shit. Although most people are too dumb to know how to do it. They're like, what, I need a centrifuge to help clean it up and then do this, and I need an older style diesel motor. We've changed a lot as a country. And the abundance that we once had led to a lot of the problems I see out here in the desert. And the abundance is still there. But it leads back to the whole can thing. Do you pick up the cans? Because if there's an easy target of an old rusting can out there, people are less likely to bring garbage out here to shoot at. But you're still going to have your jackasses that come out here with the, 18-pack of long necks. And I was thinking of this idea of how you could actually do glass shooting. But still, it's still a mess. You're still going to have to throw it away or do something with it. But if you were to have a setup, like a wooden setup above and then like a catch tarp down below, or, like a, what do you call that type of cloth? Like mill mat. Well, I can't remember what it's called, but that floor mill mat out there below. And then you could just take the leftover glass and put it in a garbage can and, take it off to the dump. But that would assume that people are actually responsible enough not to be jackasses. And that's the reality. It's just like most people treat the wildlands like people treat fireworks. It's all about the show and the garbage just left behind. I can't name a number of times that somebody comes out here with some artillery shells, the mortars or whatever you want to call them, and they leave the tubes behind. Hell, there's some of the kids that come out here, they'll build these, like small fire bombs. They're pretty fucking cool, by the way. It's a big fucking explosion. It's cool. But, then you see little bits of pipe left over, and it's just like, dude, fucking seriously. And honestly, I do understand the mentality of why they leave the trash. You don't want to get caught with the contraband. Just like you don't want to be caught with the empties. But bringing it back to the whole can thing, yeah. Some of these cans have been out here. God, they've been here since the 50s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s. They've been here probably as longer than my grandfather was alive. Some of the stuff out here. And you just got to wonder about that. Is it worth cleaning it up? You know, the glass is one thing. The only way I could see you could clean up some of it is you just have to take off the big rocks off the surface and then do a land scrape. Take a flathead shovel and land scrape it into a bucket, or, you know, and either take it to the dump or bury it in a deep ass hole out here. And the problem then after that is that if just because you clean something up doesn't mean some other jackass isn't going to come and quickly fuck it up. But yeah, the world is covered in garbage, and most of it is not visible because it's covered in grass or bushes and trees. But out here, there's nothing really rots. It rots to a certain degree, and then it's there forever. Takes forever for bones to decay out here. Takes forever for cans to rust. Plastic will be here long after. When the cockroaches take over, this will be the visible evidence that we existed. It'll be our trash dumps in the desert. Anyhow, Freedom Phil, like to subscribe. Take it easy.